Hey, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Fitness, where we keep that real estate muscle strong. We have Sonia back again. She is our new build specialist. We always love having you on the show. Thanks so much. I say we like as if there's more than one of me.
Well, we don't know what goes on in your mind, Katie. There might be more than you.
Well, I am a Gemini, so I think that counts, right?
You wear many hats, so.
All right, let's dive right into it. We're talking new builds again today, guys, and we are talking inspections. Do you really need an inspection on a new build? I mean, it's brand new, right?
Yeah, what could go wrong on a new build home?
Yeah,
it's shiny,
nothing.
nice and shiny. So I'm really passionate about inspections on new builds. I think that inspections on new builds are more important than inspections on resales. That is my opinion. I don't know if you share it or not, but resale homes, they've been lived in, they've been used, they've been worked. You could see if something's a lot of times you can kind of see if something's kind of happened or been wrong, or you see a stain somewhere, or crack somewhere. You kind of know. There is this huge misconception that whenever it's brand new, it is shiny and nothing's wrong with it. And
huge misconception. Let's say that again.
Yeah, it is so important to get an inspection on your new build. And in one of the other shows that I was on here, we spoke about a spec build and a to-be built, and depending on which one of those you choose, there are different inspections that you get. So I'm just going to kind of I'm going to kind of do the to-be built, and we'll go from there because that's the beginning. So if you buy a home and you just purchase the lot and you're getting it built, there are inspections that you need to have. And if any builder pushes back on this, huge red flag, because they should be proud of the product that they produce. So the first inspection that is super important is going to be your pre-drywall inspection. So your pre-drywall inspection is just before they put any of the drywall up, whenever all the studs are exposed, all the plumbing, electrical, the HVAC system, all of that is already installed. Before all of that's covered up, you have an inspector come in, and the inspector will look at, because once the drywall's put up, it's so much harder and costly to get the tools needed to kind of see beyond the sheetrock. And so when you have these inspections, they go around and they check all of those things. They make sure that the plumbing is correct, that it's not only mounted correctly, but that they're affixed correctly to each other, depending on the piping you have. There's a lot of homes are going in with what's called PEX piping now. It's the red and blue ones that you see. And sometimes where they're affixed to each other, sometimes they're not affixed to each other correctly. For electrical, sometimes they have the little wire nuts that go on there. Sometimes they have long wires going into them. Sometimes they're not in all the way. Sometimes you have double tapping, and there's a lot of different things that happen whenever these builders, because a builder is only as good as their subcontractors. I actually can't think of a builder who has all their internal things done internally. They subcontract, which means that they hire different trades to complete your home. And so all of these trades, we're human. Things aren't perfect. We all know that. But we want to find these things before they make a bigger impact. So with this pre-drywall inspection, it just makes it so much easier to get all of these components fixed. Because if you have a leak, I had a leak in one of my new homes, in my personal new home, and we didn't find it because it was internally. We didn't find it for almost a year. And there was black mold. And the worst thing was, it was a water heater that was just not, they mounted the water heater. And when they mounted the water heater, it screwed into the piping, and it was leaking for a year. And it was in like an outdoor closet kind of thing. So there was black mold everywhere. And on the other side of that wall was my son's nursery. Like, how it was terrifying. I'm like, oh, like, thank goodness he likes to sleep with me. Because man, he wasn't in there so much, but it was terrifying that those things could happen. But that's why inspections are so important. So you just have to make sure that all those components are are correct before they put the drywall up. And then
Agreed. And I love drywall walks for another reason too, is not only because you can see all those things like you mentioned, but you can see all the things. So you know where your pipes are, you know where, like if you had a problem in the future, you know, you don't have to go searching to find your whatever wire, whatever pipe, or, you know, that kind of thing. I had a client that had, it wasn't a new build, it was a resale that they moved into, but they went and they were hanging up some art and they happened to puncture the toilet one that goes, that takes all the fumes out of the house. I don't remember the name of that big pipe, but they were wondering why their house smelled like sewer forever. And that was why. So these are the times when you can locate those very important components.
Yes, and take pictures. Taking pictures, and throughout the whole entire process, not just at these I always urge people to, you know, to let's go and get, we always have to get clearance from the builder's rep, but let's go and let's look at it while it's being built. Let's look at, like you said, if whenever they're laying the foundation and they're digging the pipes, whenever you do a future pool, do future front landscaping, you want to know where those are. And you could always call to have those located, but they only do the front yard. They don't really do the back. And you want to make sure that you know where all of those components are. And if you see it like a leak somewhere, you kind of know where to look. So take photos of everything, document, have a folder in your phone for it, because they will come in handy. I know for me, it has come in handy. So that is a super, super important inspection to have. The next inspection, it breaks my heart how many people forego this inspection because of what the builder's rep says. Another reason why to have us there is the pre-closing inspection. That pre-closing inspection is so important because it's before you close, right? After you close, the builder could take however, they really legally could take however long they want to kind of fix these things, as long as they kind of have it scheduled in, and they can take, you know, for there's just no reason for them to to push to fix it. You close, they got your money, they, you know, they'll take their time. So before there's a couple different, one of them's an inspection, then one of them's a blue tape walkthrough, and I'll explain what both of them are. So the inspection happens before the blue tape walkthrough, probably a couple weeks before you close. And the inspector goes in and makes sure everything is working correctly. Because when there's things that get like drains that kind of have plugs on them, for, you know, to keep debris out, and you want to make sure that those get, you know, unplugged. There's vents that have those same plugs. So like I've had a client who they're flushing the toilet and you hear gurgling and you think it's a clog, but it's not. It's just because, like, you know, whenever you have a straw and you hold the top and it keeps the water in. So the vent that you were talking about that they screwed into, there's a cap on there, and that needs to be opened up, because whenever you open it up, what happens? What drains out. That's the same thing with toilets, is you hear that gurgling sign, there's a it's new builds, are high likelihood that something was taped up there while they were doing roofing, where they were doing something and it didn't get untaped or uncapped. So there's things that where you have some lazy contractors who they decide to go to your front yard, and you have those sewer clean outs, and they dump the things in the sewer clean out. So then you have all this debris, like, you know, you have, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't understand how they think that that's okay, because then you have all this debris, and then you have to get a sewer scope to make sure that those are clear, and to make sure that I've had builders like get so annoyed with me whenever I tell my clients, like, you need a sewer scope for a new build. They're like, it's new, it hasn't even been used. Why do you need a sewer? Because of your contractors. Because your contractors throw things down there, or they don't cap it correctly. And so whenever they're grading, and with the, you know, they have the tractor grading and everything, and dirt and rocks get in there, and then that's where all of your stuff goes to the sewer, and it's going to get clogged up, and then it's going to back up into your house.
And that's gross.
Yes, it's just
you're going to have some interesting water in your bathtub.
Yeah, and there's different things too where we really have to look at is a lot of contractors do the bare minimum. So they do code compliance. Code
Yeah.
compliance isn't always best practice. So you want a builder who has subcontractors who do best practice, because if you do the bare minimum, things happen. And
Yeah.
these city inspectors that go in, because I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, well, these city inspectors came in and signed off on it." Well, they miss a lot of things. Like there's some city
Well, they're there
inspectors
for
that
like a minute.
yeah, they are. They don't even go in attics anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's I've it's it's unfortunate that, I grew up in the construction industry. I have a huge love, that's why I love new builds. I have a huge love for construction, and it just irks me how people don't have pride in their trade.
Yeah.
Like this is people are paying good money for this. And also, like, don't you want to walk away knowing like, hey, I did good work on this, and not like,
Yeah.
it's annoying. So that's why the 11 month is so important, is to get those things done so that the seller has, or the builder has, some kind of recourse to fix these things. So they either have to fix these things, or they have to schedule and show you that they're scheduled to getting these things fixed. And then the next inspection after you close is going to be your 11-month inspection. I don't call it a 1 year, because if you get to the 1 year and you do an inspection, you're too late. You missed it.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to do 11 months because it has to be in by the one. They say it has to be in by the 1 year, but I will give you guys a huge tip later on. We could talk about this later on, but you guys could ask us how you can get to a 2-year warranty. Everybody gives 1 year warranty, but you can get a 2-year. Just I'll give you the tip. So just let me know, and I'll show you. Like, I always say 1 year, but it's 2 years. So, and I'll let you know why later on. But before they start giving you grief, do your 11-month inspection, because you've lived in it already, right? Water's flowing through the pipes, electric's conducting whatever it's conducting, and and all of these things happen while you're getting. It's just like a brand new car. Once you start driving it, things happen.
Right.
Parts move where you think it's tightened, but things move. So same thing with house. So get your 11-month inspection, and then what we do when we do our 11-month inspection, and your realtor should always remind you whenever you're coming up on the 11 months, you do that inspection, and you get the report together. You send the whole entire report. Don't pick on there. I've had some people who they're really sweet, and they're like, I don't care about that getting fixed. Who cares? They're going to fix it. Just have them fix it. Just have them fix everything, because you might not care. But if something happens, you lose your job, you decide you're going to move across the country, something happens, you need to sell that home, those new people might care that that's not fixed.
Agreed.
So always get that 11-month inspection, and then you can just submit all of that, and then they'll fix it. Now, there's some builders, mostly if you go with a smaller builder, which one of my last homes was with a smaller builder, so they weren't as they didn't have that great of a process. And so when they sent out for everything to get fixed, then it was my responsibility to like follow up with those contractors if it was going to, and some of them fell through the cracks, but because I knew my little 2-year tip, I eventually got those fixed. So it's, make sure to stay on top of them, write everything down. And then throughout that you close, and throughout your 11-month, keep a notebook on everything, because the great thing is the 11-month for 90% of builders isn't just for things that are kind of wrong. A lot of them are really, they do like paint touch-ups. So whenever you're moving and kind of nick a wall a little bit, they'll touch up your paint. They do little things like that. So just things that aren't urgent, because there's a warranty where you can call in if something really, like if you have a leak, you could call them and they'll come out ASAP. But for non-urgent things that could wait till the 11-month, keep a notepad. Maybe put it in your pantry somewhere where it's easily accessible, or in like a little closet, and just pull it out, write down things that are wrong, so that in addition to the inspection, because inspection is not really, most of the time you don't really get cosmetic things on the inspection. You get things that affect the home and how the home works, or how the home ages, or something like that. But you don't really get too many cosmetic things, so write those things down. But yeah, there's that's about it. There's just that 2 year, and then keep up on your maintenance. We do several videos on maintenance and on your
Yep.
home.
Yep.
So,
it's
but the
important.
thing is, yeah.
It's one
Go ahead.
big thing that I've noticed. I was actually just thinking about this morning, and a social media post was forming in my head. It's one of the biggest things that we see that impacts sellers on the resale end, and that's deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff is really easy, like keeping up with your AC, getting your AC checked out twice a year, and keeping up with, cleaning the filters, like super easy. But if you don't keep up with that, then your AC fails more quickly. You've got more trouble. And I don't know about you, but in Phoenix, Arizona, AC is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
It is really good to keep up on those maintenance items. And the thing too is, like, nowadays you have all of the, because these homes are being pumped out so quickly, there is this huge thing where people are against new build homes. And they're just like, it's new, that's just built, horribly, we don't even want to deal. And guys, if you get your inspections, if you do the inspection I told you about, and if you do if you get like a move-in home or like a spec build, then you could pretty much kind of only do your 11-month, but it's still something. Not your pre-close and your 11-month, it's still something. It's still something that you have. As long as you do your inspections, you'll do just fine. So, but that's the key, is do your inspections, and it'll be good. So, and there's good builders and bad builders, but the thing is you can find homes that are built by the same builder, and some of them be built horribly, and some of them be built fantastic, because, like I said, all they care about is their money, and so they don't use the same subcontractors for every single job, so it can differ. So that's why when they're like, oh, this is a bad builder, well, they might have been then, but they could be great now, or they were like top notch then and now they're horrible. It's and it all depends. Join the community Facebooks on there, and ask me, like, have you guys had issues? Talk to, while you're driving through these communities, and you're kind of looking around, and you see somebody who lives there walking, be like, hey, have you had any issues? How's the builder been? Because generally in the community, they're typically all the same. But if you go to a home that was built 5 years ago in another community, it could be a completely different build. So just as long as you do your inspections, you'll be good, and there's nothing to be afraid of. So, yeah.
And you have Sonia, inspections and Sonia, those two things.
Have it all. There you go. You'll be good.
You will be good. It won't be too scary. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Sonia, for being with us again. What a very valuable conversation this was. I know that it is a huge topic. And like you said at the beginning, I know that some people think, I don't need that. At least I don't have to, get an inspector for a new build. Wrong. Couldn't be more wrong. So listen to Sonia. She knows what she's talking about, guys. If you want to check out any of our previous episodes, hop on over to our YouTube channel. It is at Team Evo AZ. Scroll down just a little ways. You will see the real estate fitness playlist and a couple of other playlists there too that you might find very valuable. If you prefer to listen podcast style on your favorite podcast platform, please visit Arizona Real Estate Radio. Like, download, notify, all the things. Like, subscribe. I already said like, sorry. Subscribe, and you will never miss an episode. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Sonia.
Bye.